Good afternoon. It is Thursday, February 1st, 2024. This is the work session with the Board of Supervisors in the County Attorney's Office. I'm Lisa Heddens. Along with me are Supervisors Linda Merkin and Supervisor Latifa Faisal, Director of External Operations, Sandra King, Director of Internal Operations, Alyssa Wignall, County Auditor Lucy Martin, Assistant Auditor Lisa Markley, Communications Assistant Bryce Garman. I'll turn it over to our county attorney to introduce, and we've been starting off going with revenues on the budget worksheets.
Okay. I'm Tim Meals. I'm the Story County Attorney.
I'm Monica Stalzer. I'm the County Attorney Operations Manager.
And starting off with revenues, the first item is our diversion program grant from our comprehensive opioid abuse program grant that we received through the Governor's Office of Drug Control Policy that was administered through there, that was further received from the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance. And that will be ending, as everybody knows, I think in September. The next item is our domestic abuse, our VAWA grant, $22,000. The next item is our billing to emergency management for legal advice. We provide legal services to emergency management. Our next item is our victim witness grant that is relatively new and was funded by the state. The next item is our.
Sorry, Tim, is that a one-year grant or multi-year?
It's a multi-year grant.
Okay.
You want to address that?
No, he's correct. 3 years. It's for 3 years for sure. And then at that point in time, we'll reapply.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Do we have a match to that?
We do not have to match that grant.
This is for salary only, so we're paying, so the county is paying the.
Everything else is in
insurance and
kind.
FICA and IPERS.
Okay. And is that full-time position?
Yeah, you just approved it to have added a new full-time person for it.
Okay.
The next item is money we received from the state for an attorney intern when we do have one. We haven't had one this summer. We're not sure. It'll be open again to apply next year. The next item is forfeiture money that we receive from our share of forfeitures through the drug task force. The next item is money that the county receives through the fines recovery program. $225,000 goes to the county. And the next item is fines collection money that we collect for the county attorney's office, $35,000.
Any additional questions on revenue? Okay, we'll go ahead and go on to expenditures.
So let me just make the comment. I put all your information for new positions. It's the request is here, the actual funding, no, the actual figures are in the county-wide budget at this point in time because it's the opioid dollars and that's where I've deposited is in the county-wide. That's up for discussion. It doesn't, however you want to work it is fine, but as opposed to confusing this one, I decided to put it all in county-wide because that's where the opioid dollars are right now.
Okay.
So we can talk about the positions and all that kind of stuff probably when we get done with the rest of your budget if you want to, or we can do it ahead of time. I don't care, whichever works for you.
Why don't we do it after? Let's go through the rest of the budget first.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just feel like I need to make a clarification on the revenues, the fines recovery funds that go to the county attorney's office. That's the split of the full amount that's collected. It's not a separate collection activity.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The first items are salaries and benefits. Those are fixed and Lisa puts those in there for us. Is that right, Lisa?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Okay.
And the extra help would be probably, that is the one you might want to talk about some. I don't know if you do or not. It's been it's been 50,000 for a long time in the extra help line item. So,
Your interns.
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that $1,200 that you saw on the revenues, if anybody qualifies, that's where the revenue goes.
Gotcha.
And then after insurance, the next line is office supplies, general office supplies, $13,000. I don't think we've changed that. Subscriptions. Don't believe I don't think that's changed at all either, $13,000.
Yeah, office supplies was 13,000 and then we have our subscriptions. And that one did increase just minimal for our cost for our Thompson West Library Plan. Our Iowa code books are under that one, but not every attorney gets a set now. I think the last time we got 11 sets versus the 15, so. I know that's always a topic of discussion on.
And the next item's under fines collection program. That's for the text minder service for people that are participants in the program, and Thompson West Clear, which is a search engine that we use to locate individuals we attempt to recover fines from. And Iowa Workforce Development subscription also, that we get information on people's employment, so we can also find participants through that. The next item is the diversion program grant. The diversion program cost, and that'll be ending in September. We'll discuss later what we're going to ask for that program. Postage and mailing, $5,000. Mileage, $5,000. We haven't asked for more for that. Communications, phone system, that's basically set by IT, I believe.
Yeah, no change on that either.
Education and training, we had a slight increase to cover hotel costs, but we also decreased the amount that we're requesting for the Violence Against Women Conference. Instead of sending 3 attorneys, we're going to send 2 attorneys to that for this year. So we're asking for $25,050 for that. Equipment, basically, that's our copying machines. I believe that cost hasn't increased. That goes through IT as well. Dues and membership, drug task force dues, and our CLE dues and our notaries fees. Drug task force dues increased slightly due to an increased request for buy money that the task force uses its investigation. So we're asking for a small increase in that. Office furniture. We're not asking for an increase in that, but we will be budgeting for furniture for after the remodel, because we'll have 3 additional offices, and that's going to be on the next page. Yep. And the juvenile representation service. $20,000, which is the same amount that we asked for. Any questions about
Any
those
questions?
items?
You've only used 22% of that so far this year. Given that, do you think the 20,000 might be a little high? Considering you used 11,000 and 23.
Right, these, I mean, in the past, Lisa has just kind of set a number for that for us, and we realize
Okay.
no matter what, I mean, we don't have a guess in what those.
One of
court
those you
costs
gotta
would be.
pay.
Mhm. Okay.
I do have a question, but it's not on this sheet. It was from when we did the IT budget. It was in regards to the Carpel. And I think last year it was budgeted at 23,000. It had been 33, it was down to 23, and then this year it's back at 33. Do you know, is that? do you know, is
I-
that-
Yeah, I don't have, that's what they put in their budget for it, because we don't get that until June. And I do not have that information.
Okay.
From Carpel yet.
Okay,
I can look into it, but yeah, I do not have any information.
but was it, do you know, was it 20, did it stay around 23 last year?
I think so. That sounds right to
Oh.
me, 22 something.
Yeah, I just wondered because it was a $10,000 increase and I
I'll
just
look
wasn't
at,
sure.
yeah, I'll look into that.
Okay, thank
See
you.
what's going on.
And you only pay Carpel now. You don't pay Iowa County Attorney Case Management anymore because that Carpel replaced it. And then in countywide, they have a couple of things budgeted. Well, they have their special law enforcement and county attorney fine collection information that's in countywide. So the special law enforcement right now, the balance that's the county attorneys is 51,200. And county attorney fine collection. This is where they volunteered to transfer some money for the capital project. It hasn't happened yet, but when it happens, I'm looking at ending fund balance at the end of this year of 127. So what I tell departments that have special funds like this that have to be budgeted but are at their discretion is budget what you think you're gonna spend. You can budget up to your balance. Basically, if you have it, you can spend it.
So I'm sorry, so after the project, there should be a
100
remaining balance of 130,
127.
127.
That's what, based on the expenses and the revenues.
That we'll get until that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
at 370-ish in there?
There's
Right now?
Right now, there is. I have the fund balance. Just a minute. It's here. The fund balance right now is 296,000. No, 372,000. And I haven't transferred the 300 because that project really hasn't started. So I'm like, leave it in there until the project starts.
Lisa, did you say there was something else besides that fund that I missed that we were referencing in countywide? I may have just misheard you or whatever. Were you only referring to just these dollars? There wasn't another line item you were just referencing as well?
I was just referencing these funds
That are just, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't mention anything in that for the budget as far as us using that, because,
If something comes up and you want to use it.
yeah,
The main thing is you need to have it budgeted.
okay.
Any questions before we have them talk
The-
about the
the-
position?
On page 16, the court costs. That 60,000 is kind of a standard budget,
Yeah.
and we kind of readjust it at budget time when we actually know what the trend is, but they're better to speak to what the trend is than.
Well, we had it at 90,000, I believe, no?
It was 90 last year, 23 was.
Yes, and then we
90,
put it back down
70, yeah.
only because we don't see any really big heavy cases that we'll be going to trial with. So I just put it back down to the 60.
You're right on track at 54%.
Yeah.
Here of spending the 60,
Yeah.
so.
And
Another
that-
one of those
that could
items
ch-
that we have to pay for no matter what.
Right.
That can change on short notice as well. We don't
Absolutely, yeah.
predict.
Mhm.
And that is one of the things we can pay for, the supplemental, so that's where it's budgeted.
Okay, do you want to go to the positions and talk about if
Yeah.
there's no other questions in the other?
So I think we're all pretty aware of the alternatives program that we've been administering for the past 3 years or so,
Want to bring it closer.
that we've been administering the past 3 years or so. And it's been pretty successful. I sent you all the report that was done by HHS on the program, and of the 3 programs that were started and received grant money from the Office of Drug Control Policy, Story County's was the most successful. And we'd like to continue the program, and the suggestion is that we fund 2 positions for that program, and we know we have to open that up for people to apply, but Shelby's done a great job on the program. And it's a good program, keeps people out of the criminal justice system. Cuts down on recidivism of offenders. And has helped quite a few people with substance abuse related issues. We've kind of expanded the program from what the original grant was to help other people who were not diverting from the criminal justice system, but still need case management assistance. And so sometimes defense attorneys will contact us and say, you know, my defendant's not eligible for diversion, but can Shelby help with program treatment management for them. And so it's taken some work, but it's gotten some really good acceptance from the defense bar and from law enforcement. And we've had really good buy-in from our local law enforcement who appreciate the program. I think we sent you a letter from Chief Huff. He's been on the board from the beginning, helping develop the program. And so, as our letter states, we'd like to hire a alternatives program manager and a program coordinator for the position. We did a rough budget of what this would cost, including
Yeah, we did do a rough budget,
Salaries.
but I also reached out to Alyssa, so she helped me with getting the job descriptions laid out as well as where they would lay on our scale. And what Shelby put together and what Alyssa gave me pretty much matched up as far as what they thought the salary would be for those 2 positions. And so we kind of worked that all together and just kind of came up with a total general amount that we thought it would cost to fund those 2 positions yearly.
And we're looking at funding the two positions along with the cost of running the program. It's about $230,000 a year to run the program. And the suggestion would be, the request would be that we could fund this from the opioid settlement money that the county is receiving, that we understand is going to be administered over the next several years.
Is the entire budget that you put together on page 20, or am I missing something?
No, you're probably missing something because
Because I'm not finding $230,000.
Yeah,
I
I
just-
find 148,000.
so I just kind of added everything. I only have one.
Okay, so I've
Copy of
got
this.
look on page 66 of the countywide. I divide, that's how I came up with 280,000. It's close to that. Already probably.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I
Got the
think that-
IPERS
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What page did I just say it's on? Brain part, sorry. Countywide.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the total doesn't match up because I added the benefits, FICA, IFRS and everything that was provided to me. And then I added it to the sheet that you guys have on page 20.
Here's what I'm putting.
Yeah.
Like the IFRS insurance.
Yeah.
And then I combined all the costs. For 38,800. So the total for the year for expenditures would be 228. 237 and we're estimating to start the year at 536,000 in that fund. Because we haven't spent anything out of the opioid fund.
Number again,
Start the year at the next fiscal year at 536,000. Like the computer, for the program coordinator, all those things are all, the computer and the initial
Initial. startup.
2,600, it's already, you've already purchased
Mhm.
What's the
with the grant.
what's the internet? Cost $2,400 for that.
Was
I'm
this
just-
kind of put together, did Todd kind
Yes.
of put some of
Yeah,
this?
Oh,
So this
yeah.
is,
So you won't
this
have
is
internet
the
costs.
state
Right.
coordinator.
So this is just,
Okay.
so we
I was just
wanted to
like,
go
oh.
like as high as possible, like
Okay.
to show like a,
What
I
it
mean, this would be like the
Worst,
highest.
worst
Case scenario,
Okay.
yes.
But you won't have to pay for internet.
Yes.
'cause
Mhm.
Back to the counties.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
I was just confused.
Yeah.
And
No, good,
Mhm.
yes, very good questions.
I think
And
with
you
the-
have one person in the program right now, but it was originally planned for two people.
Right.
The program went through two different coordinators. Shelby was the second person in the program
Mhm.
for a while and then moved into the main coordinator. So when the program was established, it was planned to have more than just one person doing all of this work.
Didn't you have two at
We
one
had
time?
two people.
We did.
Yes. Mhm.
So do you have the other computer equipment? or
No.
that's gone?
No, because Shelby's computer just took a.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
so the 228 is starting with the opioid salary and through diversion costs.
Right.
our goal would be for it to stay how it is now, the contract position until the end of September and then start this October 1st, only because we still have all those funds from the grant.
So
through
you want to
them.
use up those funds for.
Mhm.
Yeah, the total grant was 449,000. And I've tried to divide it out so that it looks like 50,000 will start next July, August, September.
So it's not really going to be, the 228 is 12 months of both salaries.
Correct.
So it would really be 228 minus the 50-ish.
No, because
No.
none of that's coming out of there. None of that's coming out of the opioid funds right now. And that's a contract. It's in their budget.
But 228 is for 12 months of salaries is what she's saying. So we
Right.
won't
So
spend 12
she's-
months worth of salary because you're not going to hire.
You're not
until-
She's saying the impact on this
Okay,
next,
gotcha.
next FY.
Will not be full, yeah.
Correct.
Thank you
Yes,
both. of
correct.
you.
When would you be looking, I mean, would you want the second person? Well, obviously you'd open up for two positions. Are you wanting that set by July 1 or by October 1? I mean, are you trying to go by state fiscal year or federal fiscal year?
I think they're trying to go by when the grant's over.
Yeah,
correct?
Mhm.
yeah. And yeah, the second position, we wouldn't start July 1. We would wait until those grant funds are over and then get Shelby moved into it and then apply for that second. Well, I know we have to. Sorry.
I know what you're saying.
Okay. I know we have to post it, but then also post for the second one at that point in time.
So you'd really be taking this and turning this into a 9-month budget. for both positions.
Yes.
Yes,
For the first year, right?
yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's,
Yes.
yeah, that's,
So then just
that's
be,
why I asked about, would you be having folks apply earlier and starting and continuing to pay?
On the contract on the other
Whatever.
one and.
Yeah, that's where the confusion.
Yeah.
is. Okay.
And I know that Story County got some of the overflow from the other counties that weren't completing the rest of the grant. Is it possible to use some of those funds for computer and
Yes,
kind of thing?
it is. Yes, it is possible. We just did that as well for one of her, for her
Okay.
computer right now. So if that would be something I'm not sure if they would give us another computer since we don't have
Another position.
another position.
Right, right, right.
But they did just purchase a new computer for her.
Okay.
That came out of that fund.
So I have just a couple questions about the program, and I've heard some about it before, but I just looked at the information that you sent, the study. What percentage of, on one place I see, I'm talking about simple misdemeanors and the other is just misdemeanors. What are all the clients who have charges or have been charged, are they all simples? Or have you, what percent might be higher level classifications than a simple misdemeanor? I couldn't find that in the report. That's why I wondered.
I'm not sure what the balance is, because some of the charges that we divert are possession, controlled substance, first and second offense, which are serious
Isn't it?
misdemeanor charges. So I don't have that breakdown in front of me about how many of those compared to
Okay.
simple misdemeanors make up the program participants.
Okay, I just want to make sure that it wasn't just simple misdemeanors and then you weren't looking at. And are felons totally out? Felony charges totally out?
We don't divert felony charges. We have offered services to people who have felony cases.
And I think it's fair to say that even though you're not diverting those charges, it's still diversion because you're diverting people away from further criminal offenses, hopefully.
Hopefully, we're,
That's the goal.
yeah, the goal is to cut down on recidivism for offenders, and the way we designed the program was that it was, in the beginning, it was supposed to be for low-level offenders to divert them away from the criminal justice system, people that had substance use disorder issues. And because of the timing of COVID and the program's inception, we had very few participants. And so we had the program operating and we weren't getting any participants. And so we started expanding a little bit so that we saw a need to help other people as well outside those initial parameters that we had set. And so we started providing case management help basically to people who weren't eligible to have their charges actually diverted, but needed the case management and the substance use treatment.
So you've just been running the program for 3 years, so you're shy of some time to really look at long-range outcomes, particularly because some of the people probably were in most areas in the program for at least a year. So probably you've only got people at 2 years at most who are post, discharged from the program. But I'm still wanting to know, is there any evidence that the program is reducing the number of criminal prosecutions in Story County? I assume that's one of the outcomes you wanted from this grant.
Right, well, and by its very nature, it does reduce because when we divert a program, somebody completes the programming, their charges are dismissed, so it does reduce the
Okay,
number.
I'm just looking like for total numbers for calendar year, fiscal year, whatever you keep your prosecution stats.
I can get that for you.
I'd like to look at that. Because it's not just, what I'm getting at is not just the success in the program and that you don't have that, but that these people stay crime-free. I mean, that's the goal. And it seems like there should be some reduction
Well,
in cases for prosecution because of that.
The statistics we do have on recidivism. Horry County, only 18.8% of the program, the participants recidivated. And that's based on looking at the date up until August 31 of 2023, when the study was completed. When the information was gathered for the study. And recidivism rates among those who successfully completed the program were significantly better. Only 12.5% of the program completers versus 44.8% of the non-completers had a new charge.
Mhm.
So 12.1 participants had a drug-related or OWI charge, and 7.4% had a felony level charge. So
Yeah, and those are good, short-term outcome kind of
Mhm.
things. I'm just thinking about longer term, longer range, and I'd like to talk with you about it sometime. We could chat.
But like I said, we've had really good reception from law enforcement, and one of the keys to our program, I think, was getting law enforcement buy-in, and that was bringing Chief Huff in on it early. And on every case where somebody has a indictable charge, before we consider diverting it, we contact the arresting officer and get their input on making the decision so that the officers don't feel like they're being left out of the process or we don't care. And we've had more and more officers contact Shelby with requests to provide services for people that they come into contact with and that they've arrested. So we've been real happy about that, that law enforcement, the cop on the street is seeing that this is a worthwhile effort.
They're recognizing it's more of a need for a service that would
Mhm.
help them versus just having them sit in jail.
Right. So that's our ask, is to fund those 2 new positions in the program.
And they could all be funded with opioid funding, everything with that, their FICA benefits,
Yeah,
everything like that.
According to the projections that I have, for sure, 3 years worth of funding. Based on the balance, the
Mm.
annual income, it looks like we could do it for 3 years out of those funds. So, of course, I get one amount of opioid and then I get another, oh, it's gonna be this amount, or oh, it's gonna be that
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah,
We haven't seen any of the dollars for some of them yet, but I think they're coming, so.
yeah, and I've called the state and their response has been, they're coming, we just don't know when. So we know that there's some additional. Why do you say only 3 years when I'm looking at 10 years?
Balance
If
sheet,
I
that's-
take, well, taking the 228,000 and I just multiplied it by,
Gotcha.
see how long it would last.
Okay.
Now, some of those are upfront costs and some of those are not ongoing costs, but you're always gonna have increased costs for salaries
Sure.
and such like that. So, I just did a straight, here's what the balance is and subtract 3 years out.
Okay, okay, no, that's fine. I just want one clarification on your calculations, how you did that.
But I wanted to point out too, the issue about people felony charges not being eligible for the program. That's not to say that they can't be diverted from criminal justice system in other ways, including a deferred judgment, which allows them to do probation and then their record can be expunged afterwards, only they have a higher level of supervision by the Department of Correctional Services or CCJ. We still have those programs as well. And we're also starting in our office to look for people to participate in mental health court as well, which we're starting to hold over in Ames on Friday mornings.
And having a previous felony charge on your record does not prevent someone from being eligible for the program.
No,
depending.
It says
depending
in
on
last, if it's
under
in the last year,
Certain,
the way I read it.
certain
Yeah.
charges.
but again, the whole idea of the program is to try and keep people who are starting out, getting criminal charges, divert them out of the criminal justice system before they get too involved in it.
Other questions for Jim or Monica? Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
You.
Oh, that, you can just lay that on the way out.
Okay.
Or whenever the September. You know, yeah, you want to do it before.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.